Hey everyone, and welcome back to Esther NJ. I do hope you're well and enjoying your 2023 so far. We are now in the second quarter of the year, and I'm really believing and hoping that it is treating you very well. The topic today is Don't Waste Time, Life is Precious. I entitled this because going through a very popular scripture in Luke chapter 20, verses 9 to 16, I'm going to read it for you. I'm going to break it down as to why I got this perspective of not wasting time and life being precious. So I'm reading from the NIV, and it says in verse 9 that he went on to tell the people this parable. A man planted a vineyard, rented it to some farmers, and went away for a long time. At harvest time, he sent a servant to the tenants so they would give him some of the fruit of the vineyard. But the tenants beat him and sent him away empty-handed. He sent another servant, but that one they also beat and treated shamefully and sent away empty-handed. He sent still a third, and they wounded him and threw him out. Then the owner of the vineyard said, "What shall I do? I'll send my son, whom I love. Perhaps they will respect him." But when the tenants saw him, they talked the matter over. "This is the heir," they said. "Let's kill him, and the inheritance will be ours." So they threw him out of the vineyard and killed him. What then will the owner of the vineyard do to them? He will come and kill those tenants and give the vineyard to others. And that is Luke chapter 20, verses 9 to 16. I took the time to study this because the parable of the tenants is a very popular scripture. And what stood out to me more was the fact that the owner of the vineyard kept on sending many people to collect fruit. And that fruit, i.e., in generic terms, can be classified as the money made from a tenant that pays for a property. So this landlord, to make it simpler, this landlord is looking for people that can get what he has invested in that property. The tenants are the people that pay their fees or their dues to the landlord. They didn't care for anyone else. And every time the owner of the vineyard sent someone to get his due, the tenants would take their lives. And what am I saying here is that in life, you have to be wise to make sure you know the people that you are surrounding yourself with. But for the fact that in verse 13, it says, the owner of the vineyard said, "What shall I do? I will send my son, whom I love. Perhaps they will respect him." I really wondered the first time the tenant killed the servant that the vineyard owner sent. That owner should have taken responsibility and used initiative to go to the house himself to see what happened. And at times, we waste time just making excuses and finding other people to replace mess. And once you keep on finding more people to replace mess, you delay the process. Think about life. Life is a gift. When you do something and whatever you promised to do it well with integrity. When something comes up, take responsibility, take initiative to find out why this has happened. If the owner of the vineyard went to that house and said, "Tenants, why did you take my servant's life? I called this person to get my dues from you. Why did you do that?" All he could have done was remove the tenants and replace them with new tenants. In life, this happens. We build, we plant, we want to bear fruit, but the people who are in our lives or our surroundings and the people we choose to work with may not always be for us. The tenants were just for themselves. They didn't think about anybody else. They killed so many people in the process of getting the vineyard owner's dues. That must tell you something. When it comes to discernment, you are able to understand the people in your life. You have to be confident to let people go. Don't make the mistake of just making excuses and replacing it with new people. and thinking that it's okay, I'll send someone else to bring my fruit. I will send someone else to bring my money. And all of a sudden, all the people that you're sending are not coming back. You take responsibility for what you've grown. Take responsibility for what you have sown. And when the fruit comes, you take responsibility to get it. Nobody invests in vain, whether it is in business terms, in friendships, in relationships. You don't invest to lose, you invest to gain. Even when you're spending money, don't see it only as an expense, see it as an investment. Let's say you planted a vineyard of strawberries or fruit or vegetables, and you've hired many workers to support you, and you told them, go to this area, go to this place, go to that place, and get me my dues. It's not wrong that the vineyard owner asked his workers to get him his dues. But what was wrong is not discerning the people who had the dues, who had the fruit in their hand. They were stubborn. They didn't want to release it. How can they constantly keep killing the people that the vineyard owner is sending? In verse 14, but when the tenants saw him, I'm emphasizing this now, they talked the matter over. So people know when you're coming to get your blessing, and they will do anything to deceive you or stop you from receiving it. You have to be wise to know the people that you are working with and the people that you are surrounded by. When you take the time to fully immerse yourself in Luke chapter 20, verse 9 to 16, it will give you a deeper insight into the parable of the tenants. You have to be intentional about the people that are in your life. Those people you want to work with, do you know them? Do they know you? Are they going to take advantage of you? Instead, you find a strategy to protect yourself and your workers. It's basically like getting insurance for your business, or getting insurance for your home or your car. You will never drive a car without insurance. You will be fined. If you know insurance is very important, why not focus and build and protect what you're trying to grow so that people won't just come into and invade anyhow? They will actually honor the fact that you've worked hard to get this far. And this is why I honor people that work so hard. And people that work so hard don't have it easy. They don't make it easily accessible for you just to take what is theirs. You will pay a price. These tenants paid a price. Their lives were gone. And it says in verse 18 to 19, I'm going to add these two. Everyone who falls on that stone will be broken to pieces. Anyone on whom it falls will be crushed. And the last verse says, the teachers of the law and the chief priests looked for a way to arrest Jesus immediately because they knew he had spoken this parable against them. But they were afraid of the people. So if the parables knew that Jesus was going to speak a negative word over them because of their behavior, why would they do that in the first place? Because they knew that there was something unique about the Lord. And I have to tell you, at times, there will be so many great things about you that people just do not understand. They will not understand why you're so blessed. They will not understand why you're struggling so much and yet you're still able to be happy. Those are the very same people that you need to move away from and to protect your peace and your blessings. Because Jesus already knows what is in man, he can see ahead of them. And I must tell you today, do not be one of those tenants that was lazy, that was evil, that didn't want to give what was due to others their own. There will be people out there that don't want you to succeed. There will be people out there that don't want you to be happy, but you still have to find a way to keep pursuing. Life is precious. Do not waste it worrying about what other people are doing. Your life is counted for and it matters. When someone provokes you and they don't give you what you've worked hard for, you find an alternative. You replace that person. Don't think that it's okay just to ignore it and think it will go away, constantly sending other people to collect what is your own. What is for you, and you have to be the one to grab it. That's why I love covenants. A covenant is a promise that God has made to you and I, that this is what I will do and I will not go back on my word. Who am I to deny what the Lord can do? Who are you to deny what the Lord can do. A dear friend sent me a song quite recently, and those were the words, "Who am I to deny what the Lord can do?" When you put your desires into his hands, he will make sure protection is all around it. But you also need to use wisdom to nurture it and make it grow. If the owner of the vineyard just took the time to decide, okay, hold on, people are killing my servants, I need to do something about it, he would have taken action straight away. But this was a parable against the Pharisees because Jesus knew that they didn't like him. And even if you know people don't like you, you don't need to respond to them. You can be wise enough to know what to do as another alternative. You don't need to be like them because they throw enmity at you. You want to throw it back? No, be wise. Silence is a powerful tool to fight your enemies. You don't allow your negative environments to see you defeated. I'm so grateful that the owner of the vineyard didn't give up. He knew what to do. And that's exactly what Jesus knows what to do when you are in seasons of trouble. And to add on this as well, this parable also exposed the fact that we shouldn't wait for people to leave the earth before we intervene. If you know someone is being taken advantage of, you need to fight for that person, especially when that person is not strong. You need to make sure you do everything you can to ensure that that person understands that there is hope. Some people, they choose to say, you know what, I give up on life. I can't be bothered. But as a strong person that knows how much that individual has gone through, you will do everything you can to stand up for that person and support them. When you intervene, the curing wouldn't even exist because you stopped that person from being hurt physically, mentally, emotionally. But when you just allow people to topple all over you and put their burdens on you and oppress you and suppress you, you need to say, hold on, I know who I am. Don't bring these problems onto me. Now think about this. In the cost of living crisis, if you had a tenant right now who constantly kept promising that they will pay you next week, and they've said this for about 5 times, and you've been lenient, and the 6th time they say it, you will let them go free again? No, you wouldn't, because you've got bills to pay. Yes, it is a parable, but we can bring it to reality because it does happen in reality too. There will be people that will run away. They won't pay what is due, and you will be left responsible for picking up the pieces. Don't let that be you this year. Take your time to understand what the scripture reveals. In the season that you're in, when I read the scripture at the time, I saw it as not waiting for someone to die before you intervene. You don't wait for your loved ones to go before you find out what the problem is. If someone is making fun of you or bullying you or putting you down, you will do everything you can to protect yourself, to protect your mental well-being. You wouldn't allow anyone to walk all over you because you know how far you've come. And when you know how far you've come, you will know that there has to be healthy boundaries put in place. Find out what you can learn from studying the parable of the tenants and see how wise Jesus was in preparing himself, not only to protect himself from his enemies because he already knew what was in them, but to also teach us that in life, not everyone is for you. But it doesn't mean that you can't live a good life. And it doesn't mean that you can't protect others from being oppressed, let alone yourself. There are ways to go about it, and you need to use wisdom, especially when you are the owner of a great task that you have birthed. The vineyard owner birthed such great fruit. Who knows how long he's been an owner for? We don't know. It doesn't specify. But regardless of the length, you've worked hard for it. Now it's time for you to reap. But reap well. Don't allow those who work for you to leave so soon and to be hurt because you didn't take responsibility in looking after them. and replacing those bad tenants. Be wise. Be around good people. But more importantly, be a good person yourself. Even though you're being treated badly right now, it doesn't mean that you won't reap blessings in the future. No matter how long it takes, you will look back and say it was good that I went through this because it built my character and it made me more integral. It made me more humble. It made me more prayerful. So let this brief video encourage you and remind you that you don't have to wait until someone dies before you intervene for them. Life is precious. Make the most of it. Do what you can with what you have. Make it grow and choose selected people that can add value to what you have sown, not those who will take and destroy others around you. Be wise with your time and be wise with the people you choose to grow and get further. Thank you so much for watching this video. I'm really hoping that it has inspired you. Until next time, I'll see you in the upcoming video. Take care and have an amazing day. Bye.